Before leashes, collars, or chew toys, they roamed wild, silent shadows in the woods. Wolves, fierce and free. And yet, somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, something extraordinary happened. One of those wolves crept closer to a fire. Maybe it was hunger, maybe curiosity, maybe fate. But in that quiet moment, history changed. A connection was born, a bond between species, one that would shape both our paths forever. Today, we call them dogs. We dress them in sweaters, teach them tricks, share our homes and our hearts. But behind those wagging tails and floppy ears lies an epic tale of survival, trust, and transformation. This is not just a story of pets, it's the story of partnership, of evolution and emotion, of loyalty that stretches back to the Ice Age. So grab your leash, your treat pouch, and your sense of wonder, because the journey of dogs is anything but ordinary. From pack to partnership, the first dogs. Long before cities and civilization, humans huddled around fires under cold, starlit skies. We were hunters, scavengers, survivors, and so were wolves. In those early days, both species competed for the same food and territory. But something unexpected happened. Instead of conflict, there was curiosity. A few wolves, perhaps the more docile, the less aggressive ones, began lingering near human camps. At first, it was probably for scraps, bones, leftovers, whatever early humans left behind. But over time, a mutual benefit emerged. The wolves got food and warmth. The humans got an alarm system, early protection from predators, and even help in tracking game. Their howls became warning signals. Their keen senses helped detect danger, and their presence alone may have kept other wild animals at bay. It wasn't a planned alliance, it was an evolution of trust. A slow, silent shift from fear to familiarity, from watching in the shadows to lying beside the fire. Scientists believe this partnership began at least 15,000 years ago, possibly earlier. Some evidence suggests it could go back as far as 30,000 years. Fossils of early dog-like animals have been found buried alongside humans, sometimes with signs of care, like injuries that had healed or ceremonial objects. These weren't just animals living nearby, they were already part of the tribe. And through selective breeding, sometimes intentional, often accidental, these wild canines began to change. Their skulls shrank, their ears drooped, their coats varied in color and texture. They became less fearful, more social, and more curious. More like dogs. The domestication of the wolf is considered one of the most remarkable transitions in human history. It was the first domesticated animal, and it didn't require cages or force. Just food, patience, repetition, and a shared path through the wilderness. By the time agriculture began, by the time we planted weed and built walls, dogs were already with us. Not as pets exactly, but as partners. They helped us track, hunt, guard, and survive. They walked beside us, not behind us. The first dogs weren't lap warmers or Instagram stars. They were workers, allies, family. They chased down prey, protected children, pulled sleds, and in return, they earned a place by the fire. Imagine that bond, the kind that doesn't need words. Just a look, a sound, a scent. That ancient collection still echoes today when your dog curls up at your feet, when it waits by the door, and when it follows you from room to room. The story of the first dogs isn't about ownership, it's about belonging. They didn't just live with us, they became part of us. And in doing so, they turned from wild wolves into the most loyal companions we've ever known. Guardians, hunters, healers, dogs in ancient cultures. As civilizations formed and humans began building cities, planting crops, and raising families and settled communities, dogs transitioned right alongside us. From being wilderness allies, they became workers, protectors, symbols, and even sacred beings. In ancient Egypt, dogs were more than pets. They were family, spiritual guides, and eternal companions. They were buried with their owners, honored in tomb inscriptions, and depicted in ornate artwork. The god Anubis, with his sleek jackal head, was believed to protect the dead and guide souls through the afterlife. Dogs were seen as protectors in life and guardians beyond. In Mesopotamia, among the Sumerians and Assyrians, dogs patrolled courtyards, temples, and storehouses. Their fierce loyalty made them ideal for protecting homes and sacred spaces. Clay figurines of dogs were placed beneath thresholds to guard households. In ancient Greece, dogs were both companions and hunters. They ran alongside warriors and aristocrats, chasing game through olive groves. Homer's Odyssey tells of Argos, a faithful dog who waited 20 years for Odysseus' return. Too weak to move, but still aware, still loyal. That moment, brief as it is, reveals a bond that even time and hardship could not break. The Romans brought a new level of purpose to canine companionship. They bred dogs for a variety of roles: fierce Milesian hounds for battle, small terriers for rodent control, and swift sight hounds for sport. Roman mosaics in Pompeii warned visitors with the phrase cave canem, beware of dog, a sign not just of caution, but pride. Dogs were symbols of vigilance and status. In imperial China, dogs were bred for elegance and exclusivity. The Pekingese, small and lion-like, was a royal treasure. These dogs weren't just adored, they were protected. Commoners had to bow in their presence. They rode in silk-lined palanquins and were trained to bark at strangers as early warning systems for palace guards. Meanwhile, in the Americas, dogs held vital and varied roles. Among the Aztecs and Maya, hairless dogs like the Xoloitzcuintli were used in rituals, kept as bed warmers, and even consumed as food during ceremonies. They were believed to carry souls into the afterlife, guiding spirits across the river of the dead. In the icy Arctic, early sled dogs helped indigenous communities transport goods across treacherous snowfields. The ancestors of breeds like the Siberian Husky and Alaskan Malamute weren't just strong. They were smart, resilient, and essential for survival in brutal climates. Dogs adapted to every region, every climate, every culture. No matter the job, guardian, guide, hunter, healer, they earned trust and respect. From temples to battlefields, from royal courts to village hearths, dogs made their way into the fabric of daily life. They weren't just present, they were essential. They were guardians of life and symbols of death. They were laborers and legends, nurturers and mythmakers. They inspired gods, protected emperors, and waited faithfully by doorways and graves. And through it all, through the rise and fall of empires, through the ages of stone, bronze, and iron, they stayed close. Always. Because no matter how we lived or where, one truth remained. When humans settled, so did dogs, and they never looked back. Breeding loyalty. How dogs changed, and so did we. Over time, humans began shaping dogs more intentionally. No longer just about survival or companionship, we started molding them to fit very specific needs and preferences. Through breeding, we selected for traits: speed, strength, gentleness, intelligence, obedience, and even appearance. And from one ancestral wolf came hundreds of forms. The tiny Chihuahua, the massive Mastiff, the nimble Border Collie, the shaggy Old English Sheepdog, the elegant Afghan Hound, the sleek Greyhound, all descended from wolves. All designed by human hands to suit different lives, environments, and desires. The 19th century brought organization to this chaos of creativity. Kennel clubs were born. Dog shows gained popularity. Breed standards were written in detail, defining exactly how each breed should look, move, and behave. The goal? Perfection, prestige, consistency. But this also brought challenges. Inbreeding for aesthetics led to health problems. Some traits became exaggerated. Flat faces that made breathing difficult, spines prone to injury, and joints too fragile to support exuberant play. Dogs were caught between function and fashion. Yet even as breeds multiplied, the bond between dogs and humans only deepened. Dogs weren't just workers or watchdogs, they became companions in every sense. In the Victorian era, dogs found their way into family portraits, children's books, and decorative figurines. Queen Victoria adored her fluffy Pomeranians and popularized small companion breeds across Europe. Writers like Charles Dickens and Mark Twain described dogs not just as animals, but as loyal, wise, and feeling beings. Science caught up with sentiment. Researchers discovered that dogs understood human gestures better than even chimpanzees. They could follow a pointed finger, read a facial expression, respond to a tone of voice. They sensed our stress, matched our moods, and even seemed to comfort us when we were sad. Dogs weren't just pets. They became emotional mirrors, a heartbeat at our feet, a tail-wagging source of comfort. And through this extraordinary connection, we changed too. We became more observant and more empathetic. We learned to speak their language, not with words, but with actions, tone, and presence. Studies confirm what many already felt. The presence of a dog can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and even ease grief. We shaped dogs over thousands of years, but in many ways, they shaped us back. They softened us, taught us trust, and reminded us what it means to be loyal without reason, to love without limits. Through every bark and nuzzle, they gave us something priceless, a better version of ourselves. From barns to bedrooms, dogs in the modern world. Today, dogs are everywhere. In 2023, over 470 million dogs were kept as pets worldwide. They live in apartments, on farms, in penthouses, and even tiny homes. They wear sweaters in winter, ride in designer strollers, and some have their own Instagram accounts. There are dog cafes, dog bakeries, and dog birthday parties. Our relationship with them has gone from utility to intimacy, and now to celebration. But even with all the pampering, many dogs still work. They do it with remarkable skill and heart. Service dogs guide blind people across busy intersections. Therapy dogs visit hospitals, easing pain and loneliness with just a calm presence. Police and military dogs sniff out bombs, drugs, and missing people, often putting themselves in harm's way. Herding dogs still run across open fields, managing flocks. Hunting dogs retrieve game. Sled dogs race across the icy wilderness. They're not just cute, they're capable and often heroic. Social media has turned many of them into stars. Instagram pups with millions of followers sell products, star in ads, inspire memes, and raise money for rescue groups. From famous Shibas who smile for the camera to bulldogs that skateboard down sidewalks, dogs have gone viral. They've become influencers, brand ambassadors, and furry motivational speakers. Meanwhile, the movement to adopt, not shop, has grown. Rescue and adoption have surged. People are pushing back against puppy mills, demanding ethical treatment and better conditions. Adopt, don't shop is more than a slogan. It's a mission fueled by love and conscience. More and more, people seek not just a breed, but a bond. They want a companion, a best friend, a soul connection. Technology has entered the dog world too. GPS collars help track wandering pups. Smart feeders adjust meals to health needs. Apps can analyze a bark or suggest training techniques. There are fitness trackers for dogs and streaming cameras so you can talk to your pet while you're at work. The digital age hasn't left dogs behind. It's found new ways to keep us closer. And yet, through all the gadgets and glitz, what matters most hasn't changed. A scratch behind the ears, a tail thumping on the floor, a ball thrown across a sunlit yard, a quiet moment on the couch. Dogs bring us back to the basics, to joy, presence, and connection. They've journeyed with us from caves to castles, from battlefields to bedrooms, from wild trails to fenced yards. They've adapted to our lives with grace and loyalty, asking for little while giving us everything. No matter where we go next, into space, into virtual worlds, into futures we can't yet imagine, one thing is certain: they'll be right there beside us, tail wagging, heart open, ready for the next adventure. Conclusion. They've walked beside us through every chapter of civilization, from ancient tundras to city parks. Dogs helped us hunt, guarded our homes, and warmed our feet on cold nights. But more than anything, they loved us, without judgment, without pause. In return, we shaped them into hundreds of forms: bold protectors, agile herders, and tiny companions. Each with a role, each with a story. But behind the diversity is the same heart, the same instinct to connect. Dogs teach us presence. They teach us patience. They remind us to play, to protect, to love without conditions. Maybe that's why they're not just pets, they're family. In the end, the story of dogs is our story too. It's about trust that grew stronger over time, about wild instincts softened into friendship. From growls in the forest to cuddles on the couch, dogs have proven one thing over and over again: they were never just animals. They were always meant to be by our side. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. Also, grab your free Mythology Bundle ebook while they're still available. All links are in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.